we all know how it feels to age and get into a little bit worse shape and physical fitness. That's what happened with our guest, Cheryl, and she found herself with a pre-diabetes diagnosis, a warning sign for worse yet to come in the future. But she found her way back to health and wellness through the Diabetes Prevention Program and other lifestyle changes. And she's going to share her journey today with the hopes that it helps you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Talking Health in the 406, where we're one community under the big sky. I'm your host, Jennifer Van Sickle, longtime healthcare worker turned health educator. Cheryl, I am curious what your health issues when you were younger were. So if you want to start with that and start telling us some of your stories with that, I'm curious to hear what you experienced.
Okay. Basically, I was a tomboy, healthy girl, just, riding her horses and playing football with the boys in the neighborhood and, just keeping up. And I was just really athletic and healthy and having a wonderful childhood. And then I reached probably like 2019 or 20, and I got hit with hypoglycemia. And it took about 6 months to get it diagnosed because they thought it was a heart thing because the symptoms were such that all of a sudden my heart would just take off and I'd feel weak and shaky. And so finally found an endocrinologist, put a diagnosis on it. Reactive hypoglycemia, it would kick in within an hour or half an hour after eating something. Or if I just didn't eat anything, basically had to do the high protein, low carb, eat every 2-hour diet. So I did that for a couple of years with the diet, and basically it dissipated. The dietary issue helped, being on that diet. Anyway, so I chugged through that in my 20s. It was like my early 20s. Everything was normal and fine and seemed good for probably, I had my son when I was 25, my daughter when I was 30, just living my life. Everything was good. And then when I was 33, I ended up getting the flu, and it was both flus, respiratory and digestive at once. And I was sick as a dog. And I came out of that with a post-viral thing. And the most that they could come up with is that it was a chronic fatigue. I finally, I got a natural remedy book and started looking at different syndromes and how I could maybe supplement to try and help my body heal from this.
This
so
is
I put a chronic.
Yeah. This reminds me of COVID, about the post-COVID that you hear people having, the long hauler. And this was way before COVID, I'm guessing.
And I did this, I probably after about a year and a half of them really not knowing what was going on with me and me just having to live with it. So I just started taking, different supplements that the chronic fatigue syndrome suggested. And I talked to my primary. She was fantastic. So I just basically knew that it was affecting my sensory nerves, my energy level. It was post-viral, so I was assuming I still had a viral load. But I eventually popped through that and was living, a good life, still raising the kids. I was glad to be feeling better. At that point, I think that's probably everything until I hit where I started just gaining weight and putting weight on because I was not living a healthy lifestyle. And this is where I think a lot of my problems started happening again. After, feeling good and stuff, I just, started having a cocktail after dinner. My husband and I would come home from work, and that was kind of our thing. And it just got to be a really bad habit. And I got more sedentary, wasn't doing as much athletically, just working, coming home. We would go on, motorcycle riding and camping, and we were still active in that, but not so much exercising.
This lifestyle sounds exactly like a lot of people I know. Same thing, busy
Yeah.
with kids. And I think a lot of people can relate.
Yeah. So that got to be real habitual. It was just one of those things that was every night. And of course, I always was thin and healthy and in shape. It was getting to the point where, I knew I was gaining the weight, but I just, you just at the end of the day, you just want to relax. And that was just my way of doing it. And both my husband and I, it was just a routine that we got into. I had put on probably between the age of, I want to say 45 and 52, I put on about 70 pounds. And my frame of 5'5", that didn't go over well. I never really looked at myself as being that overweight. And my husband, bless him, he was always supportive of everything, never said anything to me. I knew I had to do something to get myself back on track. At that point, I knew my blood pressure, my cholesterol, my A1C, my blood sugar in general, everything I knew was not good. I had heard an ad for the National Diabetes Prevention Program, and it sounded like something I really needed to do. And I heard the ad 3 times in that 2 years, and I was just, the first 2 times going, yeah, I need to do that. But, I just wasn't ready, even though I knew I needed to do it. I was just like, I thought about it a lot, Cheryl, you got to do something. And so finally, the 3rd time, I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to do this. So I called the number. I forget how the whole thing, added up. This was 5 years ago. So I ended up getting interviewed by Leslie, the head of the National Diabetes Program here. And I met all the criteria. I definitely was overweight. My cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, everything was elevated, not in the healthy, range. And so I was eligible, and I began that in September of 2017.
And so, Cheryl, did you have any idea that you would have been classified as having prediabetes before that? Until you sat down and did that test?
Yeah, I never even, I knew that my numbers probably weren't good. I had blood work obviously through the years, and things were rising. So I knew that, but I never thought about pre-diabetic or diabetes, period.
Right.
I was like, I'm not tired. I'm not, urinating a lot. I'm not, all this stuff I'm not thirsty a lot, all the things that you hear when you think that, oh, I got it. Cause I didn't have any of that, but it sneaks up on you.
It absolutely does. And yeah, exactly. Most people, it's hard not to have the, oh, it won't happen to me attitude.
Right.
So like in Montana right now, there's about 282,000 people, almost 35% of our population that has prediabetes. And most of them are probably exactly like you were, just walking around without a clue. And we have about 24,000 people with diabetes that don't know it, and you just think about the health repercussions. And every year we get about 7,500 that cross over from prediabetes to diabetes with a diagnosis. And that's the population of Glasgow and Glendive combined, which is just, when you stop and think about it, it's astronomical what we're walking around with and how dangerous it is.
Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb. Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb.
Absolutely. Yeah. So after you met with Leslie, you kind of had a, oh my gosh moment.
I was just so grateful that I was accepted into the program, had to get a doctor's note and all that. I was totally committed. It was everything that I knew I needed. So, of course, they do your first blood draw when you first start. Numbers were not good. That was expected. And so I started to do it. And then I had the flu really bad. I think it was December. My husband and I both got the flu really bad. We were just down. And so I would still do my tracking. I would still try and eat. Leslie would send my trackers back and forth home because my husband started feeling better before I did. So he would go at the end of the week, take my tracker. I'd get another tracker. because the tracking for the program is so important to keep you accountable. So I had to keep doing that, even though I felt so bad.
And is that just a
Not a
piece of
recommended.
paperwork that you had to fill out, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little 7-day thing. You monitor your caloric, and you're allowed a certain amount of calories, certain amount of grams of fat. You have to drink water. So you just have to every meal put it in there and make sure that you're not going over, what you're supposed to go over. So I was still doing that religiously. My life basically for about 3.5 months was between the bedroom, the bathroom, and the chair in the living room. I just couldn't do anything. I went in, saw my physicians once in a while just for them to check up on me. Leslie, she kept working with me. We called each other and we just kept pushing through. And then I went into the Journey to Wellness, continued on with that program to try and get my confidence back in my body. And I had so much support between my girlfriend, Brandy. She's an animal, the Spartan and all that. And so she was like, let's just start walking you slow, this and that. Let's, go to Heron and we'll do a little this, little that. So she started getting me out. She introduced me to 5Ks, which I've probably done 40 5Ks in the last 5 years. I love my 5Ks. And then I got Margosha, she just retired from the Whitefish Legacy Partner. She did the Whitefish Trail System, and she would do these like noxious weed hikes, bear aware hikes, spring flower hikes, mushroom hunts. And so I would join her on the group hikes and Whitefish on Whitefish trails. And that helped me because I knew I was with a group, get my confidence back in my body.
And with that,
and then
those are probably all free anyway, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
same thing with the
People have
diabetes prevention program. And
the diabetes prevention program, you do have to pay, but you get half your money back if you successfully lose the weight. And you only have to lose 10% of your weight. You don't have to lose a whole lot in a year. And I managed to lose all 70. Yeah. So I got my pounds off, and I've held it off till today for 5 years. But it's because I do a lot of the hiking, and with the 5Ks, the Journey to Wellness program through the summit. There's such a wonderful support group. I recommend that highly if anybody's having issues where they really need to get started, not because of a diabetes thing, but just to get out and get yourself started on a healthy route.
And I'm not familiar with that one, Cheryl. What is the summit, or what is the Journey to Wellness?
I think they call it Logan.
Oh, Medical. Logan Health, the hospital in Kalispell.
The gym that's medical gym that's associated with it, still called the summit. It's in Kalispell, right up on Buffalo Hill, but next to the hospital. It's the gym, and they have the coaches will help you with dietary, exercise, and help you meet your goals. They're there for you. And then they do have these outings that you can join in. And once you've joined the program, I've done this for 5 years, you can come and join their things anytime you want. They have little hour-long things about how to manage your money, how to clean out, if you just got a clutter in your house and you don't know how to get rid of it and get more organized, and shopping for healthy foods, and they have all kinds of these programs that it's a 3-month program. I'm not sure what the price of it is now, but it's worth every penny. I recommend that. Then I also joined a Run the Edge group over the internet. What it was is for 2019 and 2020, I did it. The goal is to reach that many miles in a year. So, if you could do it individually and get 2,000 miles in, which I was never going to be able to accomplish, or you can join and everybody pitch in and do as much as they can, whether it's hiking or running or snowshoeing, any kind of movement, getting miles in. So for 2 years, I did 1,000 miles of that. I hiked, I snowshoed, and basically I had gotten my confidence obviously back, and my zen is just being out in the forest, climbing mountains, and just enjoying the outdoors. and that's become my new passion.
That's cool. And
So
I could see where
yeah.
someone even in, southeastern Montana, where yeah, maybe there's maybe not like a local gym or health center. They could
Mhm.
do that. They
Mhm.
could just set a goal for
Mhm.
themselves. I want to do 1,000 miles
Mhm.
this year. January 1st is coming. Let's do 500
Mhm.
miles. Yeah, for free. And
Right.
just
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, even if you don't, join it's called Run the Edge. Even if you don't join something like that and just get a group of your friends and start with, all together, yeah, we're going to do 500 miles all together. And it's just amazing how just putting your toe in the water, you end up swimming. It's just amazing how I, like I said, the confidence that I lacked in my body to where I am now. I mean, I've climbed mountains and that I've never thought I would. I mean, I've been on Mount Neas and up on Huckleberry Lookout and Apgar Lookout and Firefly Lookout and Cyclone Lookout and Grinnell Glacier, and on top of, I climbed up the face of Big Mountain in Whitefish, which is the Benny Up, which is a heck of a climb, 2,000 feet in 1.8 miles. So that was a grunt. But I've pushed my body now to points where I'm back to where I'm confident in it. I'm relaxed with it. It just gives you a whole different confidence in yourself, knowing if you just put a little bit of love into yourself, push yourself a little bit through those limits. I don't know. It's an amazing feeling.
And did
Yeah,
you and tell me about the eating, because I know that's a tough thing for a lot of people. Did you learn about that through that diabetes prevention program as well?
Yes,
Like better
yeah,
eating habits, what to
yeah.
do?
But what got me started first too is my father died in March of 2017, and I was, 70 pounds overweight. And bless my father, when he passed, it just kept ringing in my head. Let me get to the food. I just need to tell you another reason why I did this. Um, he would always tell me, "You used to be so beautiful. I mean, you're still beautiful, but you're so overweight and stuff." So that got me started on my own. I had lost 16 pounds before I went into the diabetes prevention program, because I was like, well, I mourned my dad, and then I was like, to honor him, I was like, I probably should do this also for him. So I had
Mm-hmm.
lost 16 pounds before I got into the program. But as far as the eating, it's very low fat, which when you do low fat, the sugar kind of is taken out of the equation. I was surprised that they didn't really focus on no sugar being diabetic, but it was more just no, really, really low fat. I mean, you have to give up your oils, your olive oil, you have to give up your cheeses, your dairy, your nuts. I mean, you don't have to give them up, but the avocados, stuff that you think that are healthy for you in general, the nuts and avocado and oils and such, you have to give them up for a while to lose the weight. And then when you get into the maintenance program, you can incorporate them again. But so, yeah, it was basically a lot of course, your vegetables, lean meat and fish, your healthier grains, beans. You can get real creative with recipes, adding flavor and not so much the fatty stuff. I learned that putting pickle juice in my turkey meatloaf is a winner. I would never thought about putting my pickle juice in there, but you just have to learn, how to incorporate different stuff for the flavoring and to replace the fat. But if you do this, and for me, of course, there was no alcohol. I know alcohol is another thing that you really need to, maybe have one glass of wine a night, but you have to count the calories in there. There's no fat, but you have to count the calories, and it is a sugary thing. But so you just, like, Laughing Cow, came into play since I couldn't have the cheeses. What else? I did polenta. You can have breads. The calories, you really have to watch, and as much as the fat. That's where the tracker comes in, because it really keeps you accountable. they give you a little book that has everything in there, from fast food eating out to just normal, normal intake of food. And it gives you all that, the calories, the fat, the carbohydrates. And then you can also get like the app, MyFitnessPal, put that in your phone, and that'll help you keep, on track. So it is a lot of being conscientious about it, because you basically, if you don't track every meal, you have to, at the end of the day, think about what you've had all day and add it up and see where you're at. And of course, like I said, drink a lot of water. But yeah, the food is, it's hard at first, but it becomes habitual, it becomes a norm. And once you see the weight, coming off, it gives you more incentive to keep up.
Almost sounds like the hardest part is just that first step. And then once you can invest a little bit into it and start to see those results, it can just carry you.
You've got to be ready for it. You have to go into it with the intent that you need to do it. In the middle of the program, they again, do a blood draw, and, you can see if you're doing this the way that it should be done. You can see the progression of how, your blood sugar is better, your cholesterol is better, your triglycerides are better. And, I got off blood pressure medication. I was never on any kind of a sugar, glucose pill or anything, but I got off of one of my heart meds and my cholesterol or my blood pressure medication, and they cut my cholesterol medication by half. I still take half of that, and then at the end of the program again, and you get your A1C. I went from 6.2 to 5.7 by the end of the thing. So your A1C is dropped if everything looks good. And I just got a blood draw with my wellness about 2 weeks ago, and everything in my blood draw was spectacular. So I'm still doing what I need to do, but I am incorporating some nuts. I am incorporating my oils, because I'm more on a maintenance situation now. But I still have to watch. I mean, I weigh myself probably 3 times a week, and I have to just be disciplined. If I fluctuate probably about 5-7 pounds, where I'll go up, and then it's like, okay, I just got to bring it back down. And it's just a constant, a conscientious thing, because I just remember how I felt when I was overweight, and I cannot picture pulling 70 extra pounds up a mountain at this point. It's much easier to just be able, to just, pass on this or pass on the cake or pass on the ice cream or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I indulge, but then I have to be aware of what I need to do the next day, or, I hike an extra 3 miles instead, which I don't mind, because I said that's kind of my zen. It doesn't faze me anymore being in a situation where everybody's drinking and I'm not. That used to bother me probably for the first couple years. It was a little hard, and now it's just like I don't even think about that, which makes it a lot easier. So that's kind of where my journey has led me to. Brandy and Margosha and Leslie and the crew at the summit there, the Journey to Wellness. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Everybody, seemed to come and just gather with me and give me the tools that I needed to get on the right track, and then support me. I'm very happy, feel very grateful, and I just really, I know there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat. And I just hope that listening to my story, that they get, some inspiration and feel like maybe they could give it a try, and never, and just always, you have to ask for help. You have to just put yourself out there and trust. And believe me, there are people out there that want to help you. So.
Absolutely. And even if you're not in an urban area like the Kalispell area, I mean, you can even just call your county health department. They're there for public health. They could tell you, they could connect you. Yeah, there's help everywhere. Absolutely.
there's coaches, dietary coaches out there. There's wellness centers. There's, just walk in the door, ask, tell them, and they'll direct you in the right direction.
Yeah. And the diabetes prevention program, if you live anywhere in Montana, it might not be a local program where you can walk into a building and take it, but people are able to take it online. At least, you can go to your local library and log into their internet if you don't have any at your house. And, it's definitely there.
Yeah. Leslie had me come back, I think 3 times, and talk to some of her classes and tell them my story. And she had people Zooming in. So I know that you can actually probably Zoom into the class.
I actually have a family member going through the diabetes prevention program right now. And they sound like that cohort is just turning into this little family. Mm-hmm. She's going to have people to go walk with and everything right there, right from her class, even though she didn't know others to go walk with or bounce ideas or frustrations off of. It's cool.
Yeah, good camaraderie there. Everybody's in the same situation. Everybody has the same intent. And it's just nice to be able to talk to the like-minded people that have the same goal and go through the same struggles. I mean, that's the whole thing. You're going to have downtimes, but you've got someone there that's in the same position, and you can get inspiration from it, So yeah, I just think it's a really, really worthwhile program. And
there's just so many reasons to get healthier, to lose that 70 pounds. To me, when I think of that, I think of going on an overnight backpacking hike for a weekend, a couple days, and your pack is 70 pounds, to carry that around. I can see why it would be so difficult to get up and get going. But there's so much. I mean, if you do lapse into diabetes, it's the medical expenses are over 2 times more what you're paying every year compared to pre-diabetes, and you probably saw that too, Cheryl, with all of your testing and, the medications and everything you had to go through. And now hopefully that you're healthier, you haven't had to do that. So,
no, I've been feeling really good. Like I said, knock on wood, and I just keep doing my hiking. I try and be conscientious of everything I put in my mouth. Like I said, I am not perfect. I mean, I'll have myself a piece of cake or a bowl of ice cream or whatever here or there, and I don't feel guilty about it because I know that it's a lifestyle. You can't be, on task 100% of the time, or you won't do it. So if you just get through, that year, and like I said, you have the support, you have the tools, you have, you can tweak recipes, and there's just all kinds of ways that you can get it to work. And like I said, in the first month, you start seeing the pounds come off. They come off pretty quickly the first 6, 7, 8 months. Then you might plateau a little, and that's when they drop the calorie and fat intake, and then your body adjusts to that. Yeah, it's definitely a journey worth taking.
And if anybody wants to look more into the diabetes prevention program, all they have to do is go to our website, which is www.diabetes.mt.gov, and you can take the risk test, get referred into the program, or talk to your provider.
Your provider will know all about it.
Thank you so much to Cheryl for sharing her story of success with us today, and thank you for joining us. The Diabetes Prevention Program is available around Montana, both in person and online. For more information on that or anything else you heard in the podcast, visit our website at talkinghealthinthefore06.mt.gov. Until next time, take care.